Turtle Creek Christmas Parade is next week. I know you guys are going to talk about a policy.
The truck parade?
Yeah, we participate in that every year that I know of, that I've been here, but we'll talk about that when we get to the policy. Because I'd like to keep on doing that. It's a kind of countywide thing.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing.
Two guys.
We have lights?
We have lots of lights. We've all contributed over the years. So we have two guys that are already willing to. They got to be down there Saturday by noon, and the thing goes up 4. I think,
5, it gets when it's dark.
What date is that?
14.
14.
It's Saturday.
It's next Saturday?
This coming
This Friday.
Oh, Friday the
Saturday.
13th? Friday the 13th?
Oh.
Yes, it's Friday the 13th. Yes.
Saturday. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have.
Just don't go to sleep.
Yeah. How many calls were there?
Oh, yeah. 10 calls last
Yeah.
month. 3 of them were fires, 2 vehicle accidents, 4 medical aids, a couple public assists.
And the Park Creek, Jim's Park Creek.
It was fairly, it's slowing down. We're at 122 calls, I think, for the year, plus whatever we've got this month so far.
Okay.
One of our common lift assists right now is a 100-year-old lady who lives over on Laurel Oaks that they're still trying to keep at their house. That's not going to happen for very much longer because their 2 children are in their 80s and they can't pick her up anymore.
Wow.
So that's one of those things that you were talking about
Yeah.
before. What are we here for? We're the only people that can call it.
That's right. That's
Your
exactly
kids
right.
are in their 80s.
That's pretty cool.
Morning.
You still got picking off all 3 of them here. And you still got vehicles chained up out here for?
We have 2 vehicles chained up, guys. That's probably, if it gets in the 40s tomorrow, like you're saying, I think we'll probably
Take them
more
all.
than that. But there's still some ice
Oh,
up on these roads around here. We've had 2 vehicles chained up all week and 2 unchained.
I got a little yahoo when I came back from our meeting today. I had taken my 4-wheel drive and
Yeah.
was regretting it about 10 feet into the swerve.
I got one on the way here.
There you go, yeah.
It's bad.
Outside.
Yeah.
I'm locked up all over again. Well, good. Anything else, Steve?
No.
Treasurer's report?
We've gotten a bunch of tax money in the month of November. We don't have a total on actually, about 5 checks that we got in. But, regular shares account number 1 at First Community Credit Union, as is labeled. Current balance $1,151.55. Our general fund checking account, number 2. Current balance is $54,173.97. And the equipment fund, number 5. And we had last month we approved equipment bills for about $4,000. So I transferred that out to pay those. Current balance on that is $220,196.02. And then number 6 for not using just has the $1 in it. We've been blessed with our usual number of bills this month. I think Reese, as you'd mentioned, bills for equipment replacement, $8,738.43. For operations, covering a number of different things, total is $1,792.39. We've got Douglas Electric, $152.99. Then equipment bills, this one Public Safety Center, the carbon mag hoods, 4 of them $150.43. A large invoice for our L.M. Curtis and Sons.
That's the last of the grant money.
This is the big one.
That's what those ones are.
$7,141.50.
Just out of curiosity, have you cross-referenced those back just to make sure that we do have the same items that are on the list we just looked at versus that?
I have not.
Could we do that? Did you do that?
Yeah.
You did that?
I used those to fill.
Okay, so then that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I want to make sure.
I just want to make sure somebody did.
Those are the things we had on the table here that night.
Right.
Municipal Emergency Services in Vancouver. The 6 lights that Steve mentioned, $425 and 1 penny.
So those were actually a better buy than the other ones. The
Yeah.
knuckle ones were a better buy than the yellow ones.
Well, I might have to turn the video off to go into that.
Okay, never mind.
No,
We're good.
No, I just, what happened was, our monitor came out over the bid, so the monitor went down and the flashlight went up as far as their bids did.
Ah, okay.
They were nice enough to do that for us, so we could still get them.
That still works.
Okay, I said that on video. So.
Yeah, you did.
The Southern Oregon Wireless, the one radio that Steve mentioned, is just $350. Cascade Fire Equipment Company out of Medford, the fire shelter belts, adapters, $564. Another invoice for municipal emergency services. One tactical LED light for helmet, $107.49. That's the equipment. We've got a Umpqua insurance invoice for our accidents and sickness policy, $1,222.
Now, we're holding off on this until we
That's
settle.
not part of that.
But this is different.
policy. That was the second part that he was talking about. That was our accident and health one.
So that has nothing to do with what we talked about today?
No.
That was the secondary conversation we had at the end of the meeting.
Right. That's we looked at all liability and umbrella policies today. I did not look at that. That's the supplemental health and disability insurance for our firefighters. It provides.
That's the second half, the
Yeah.
second document that he gave us.
Right.
Does everybody understand what that is? That insurance policy is in effect, it's a perk. It's a benefit to the firefighters. It's an additional policy that it has a small life insurance policy. It covers all different kinds of aspects if they're hurt on the job.
Would we lose that if we went with the other insurance plan?
Yes. Because it's an additional policy. There are two policies that we're currently reviewing.
Mhm.
One is for all of the, basically the property type of things, the actual
Right.
operation of this district.
Mhm.
And then this policy is the accident sickness, which is an additional policy to this
Can we
policy.
get something
And then-
like that from the other?
Potentially, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
And then, in addition to this, we have, and you'll jump in, we have the workers' comp,
Right, that's through
which is
Northwest, and that's separate.
Liberty Mutual, right?
Yeah, Liberty Mutual.
Liberty Mutual. So that's separate. We have about $9,500 when you total everything up in insurance premiums. So this one that's here now is separate from the Oregon Special District's insurance policy that we're also reviewing.
Mhm.
But I don't know if we want to not, you know where I'm going with this is,
Yeah.
if we want to do this one and complete it, because you follow?
Yeah.
You
It's a
can, you can
separate
still
policy.
have this policy and not have this
Not have
one.
that, okay.
So you'd have this policy and you could go with the Oregon Special District's coverage policy that we're evaluating. Or we could have Oregon Special District, I don't know, did they even do this? I don't think they did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think they did that.
Somewhere,
So, that's just a question. Because this is, when is this due by, this payment check?
It expires January 1st, 2014.
And wasn't that the same date we were talking about getting?
Yeah, these have been, they can be extended because that's an automatic renewal, so we don't have to worry about it unless we cancel it.
Okay,
And This
so,
one they were gonna go by. I did not visit that one this year because the money to be saved was here,
right,
so.
right. So I just want to make sure everybody understands, I, as a member of this board, don't have a problem with paying this bill and maintaining this policy for the firefighters.
It averages out to about $75 a firefighter. It gets you life insurance and $30,000 of disability and medical payments if they get hurt.
Yeah, I agree that they need the coverage. I'm just wondering if it can be covered with if we go with a different insurance company, if they're gonna sit there and go, Well, we offer that.
Right.
You know, I mean.
According to Rick, who we talked with today,
Mhm.
that wasn't in this other policy. So there's a number of questions about this that we need to discuss as a board, because this other policy is quite a bit different. Yes, Karen?
Is that on 30,000, is that accidental death?
I gotta look at that.
I think it's on the job death. Let's see. Accidental death indemnity benefit, $30,000. Accidental death seatbelt benefit, $7,500. Illness loss of life benefit, $30,000. Dependent child benefit, $10,000. Spousal support benefit, $5,000. Memorial benefit, $2,000.
Okay, because accidental death policies, the way they're generally worded is you have to die as a direct result of the accident. They only pay 3% of the time. Because if you go to the hospital and you have a punctured lung and you die from pneumonia, they don't pay.
This says accidental death benefits are paid when a member dies as a result of an injury while participating in a covered activity.
Okay, but does it say it has to be a direct, my question is, does it say it has to be as a direct result? Because accidental death policies are really iffy.
This one, and to make one of the impressive things, and you can jump in here anytime, that I thought was interesting about this VFIS is that this is a big-time fire district specific type of a fire insurance organization. Everything that he told us today I thought was pretty impressive. And I've been in business a long time. This doesn't get into all of that. It gets into the weekly injury. So that's as big as the definition is, the one I just read you.
Basic coverage on the liability and everything is a $5,000 medical per incident. So if one of our guys gets hurt, that's going to blow that out of the water. But they're organized to volunteer firefighters. So some of the stuff in there is like in excess of workman's comp would be skin grafts and that kind of stuff due to burns and those kind of things. It's oriented towards injuries that a firefighter would suffer. I can't answer your specific insurance questions. All I know is he talked about those companies today because they're oriented to what the volunteer firefighter services problems are.
Well,
That's
I'm
what
not
the
saying you
policy-
shouldn't get them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I know for a fact, because I am licensed
Yeah.
in that area, and I know for a fact that accidental death policies very rarely pay off. Like 3% of the time.
When you die, Amy, they find a
If
way
you
to
die-
wiggle out of it.
If you die as a direct result with no other, generally the way it's worded is that it has to be a direct result, like it could be immediately, they'll pay right then.
You fall off a ladder, they pay.
If you fall off a ladder and you die right then, they pay. If
You fall off a ladder, break your neck, and
and live for a while and then you end up with complications, they don't pay.
Yeah, you die of infection or something.
Yeah, that's exactly
They
Yeah.
won't pay.
You can ask Rick that if you want to.
But the other thing I might add to this is that the life insurance policy, the accidental life insurance policy, isn't the real benefit to this.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying that if you're
I
counting on
understand.
that part, don't count on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they give accidental policies away all the time.
That's right.
I've got 4 of them, just because I'm a pilot. They just give it to you, you got it. But you gotta die in the airplane at 120 knots at less than 5,000 feet. I mean,
That's about
on a Sunday.
Sure, it's sunny.
Yeah, it's got the sunny outside, that's right. So this is definitely, frankly, I mean, this is a very, very good perk, in my opinion, for us as the board to say yes to for the firefighters.
Now, is this the same as this one?
That's the $1,200.
But it's,
That's the premium for
this
this.
one, is this one? Or
Yes,
is this?
that is this one.
Okay.
That's the one we currently have. We've had this insurance, what do you say, 12 years, 14 years?
So, yeah, I haven't been here that long, so.
I don't know, he told us today, but I didn't write it down. It's been a while, we've had this insurance.
Okay.
Okay, we can just do the bills then.
So- So we'll go ahead and yes with that one. Everybody in agreement there? Are you
Yes.
mumbling for some reason?
I'm going to sleep over here.
Well, we haven't gotten
Move
to
along
the
here.
new business yet. Break out the
Next
coffee.
bill is from ComSpan, phone service for $60.71. Umpqua Basin Water, $99.58. Public Safety Center for some gloves for medical, $33.98. Medical training, Carl Bolden, invoice for $100.
Is that the guy that's on the account, insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
Public Safety Center invoice for pocket mask kits, $50.42, that's medical.
We put 5, each person has a jump bag, has a portable CPR mask in their bag now.
Okay.
News Review communication bill, $15.26. And we have some
Take the shirt off, it seems to
receipts from the debit card of things that Steve has purchased. This is Primark, some foam insulation, various
We winterized
winterized,
the pipes and stuff around here.
$20.46. A floodlights for the flagpole. This is from Apex, $15.48, also on the debit
I
card.
expect to see a drop in our electrical from that too, because we have a 500 watt halogen light burning 12 hours a night out there right now. And I went to a 45 watt LED spot, so it should drop it by 10. So I don't know how much it's gonna be, but it's gonna be something.
That'll be something, yeah.
A bill from Lowe's,
That was the rest of the memorial stuff for chain and paint.
$21.51. And that is the bills which I have for the month.
Need a motion to pay?
I'll make a motion, we pay our bills.
Second. I think Jerry can second.
Argue with her. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Yeah, let's not pay him.
New business. We have to formally add Jerry in the minutes to the account, so we just have to have a statement that he is currently a new board member and will be on the bank accounts and sign the signature cards, etc. Brad is willing to take that from this meeting prior to it being approved at the next meeting as official, so that he will be immediately as of, well, Friday, when I go down there Friday.
Okay.
Okay, be on there. He said he'd be willing to do that.
Good.
Yeah.
I have a
And,
question.
go ahead.
Do we all have to go down there to get the content of the city
No.
president?
No, not as long as we do it by Friday. If we
Okay.
do it after Friday, the new regulation kicks in and all 5 of us would have to meet there.
I have the documents here for us all to sign.
We'll just start signing at your end. Have you signed it already?
No.
Yeah, why don't you start signing it, pass it this way. And then we also have to formally take Janie German off of the account.
Her
So we
name
need a,
is Jaynee.
oops, I forgot the Y.
Uh-huh.
J-A-Y. Okay.
N-E-E. Jaynee.
Oh, N-E-E.
N-E-E,
Why I messed
yes.
up all the way around
Uh-huh.
there. J-A-Y-N-E, okay. So we need to formally have that in the minutes also.
What's your position to?
So you got that, Risa, when you write the minutes? We need 2 statements. One is that we're adding Jerry to the accounts as a new
Yes,
board member,
yes, and taking
and
Jaynee
we're
off.
removing Janie German
Yeah.
from the accounts.
I already have that, yeah.
Okay? So we need a motion and a vote on that.
I'll move that we do that.
Need a second? Any discussion? And just for everybody's notification, Janie was never taken off when she resigned. It just, nobody knew about it until we walked in there the other day to put Jerry on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. So Risa, as soon as you can get a copy of that to me before Friday, please, so I can take that down. I know you will, but
It's already in last month's minutes when Jerry was sworn in.
I know we need to deal with Janie there too.
Oh, that part, sure. I'll get that out tomorrow.
Okay, item B was, we had an open accounts issue that as I understand it, we solved that Staples thing.
There was 3 accounts of Staples. We had created a new one in July with my name, or excuse me, in June, and the former treasurer, Mr. Hatch, was under my name. So we had our own number. We updated, the other 2 accounts were past employees of this district and the past chief, and those are gone. The rewards from were never used, so they went through and transferred recent rewards to us, and they're going back to try to figure out where, if it looked like it was business-oriented purchases, and if it was, they were gonna give us all the rewards. And we only have 1 account now. I have the card, the account number and the passwords are in the office manual sitting up on the
And,
counter.
and whose names are on that? Any, just yours?
Just mine, but it goes by our phone number, 679-5555. So anybody that feels they just want to donate to us can always quote our phone number when they buy something there. And we haven't, I got a card with the account number, it's in there also, so we can go by number or phone number.
But do we need to add like Jerry to that so that he can go down and use it?
We should be able to do it just through the phone number.
Anybody can use it.
Oh.
I don't necessarily.
Well, we don't want
account
you
there.
going down and charging stuff on our account, Carol.
I don't think I've ever had them bill us, so I'm not sure if we have.
Yeah,
an
it's
account
not,
either.
it's just a rewards card, it's not for billing.
Right.
It
Oh,
just
okay.
gives us
So it's
credit,
not really
reward,
an account, it's
reward
just-
points.
It's oh, okay, I'm
That's
with
what
you
the
now.
issue was.
Good, so we got that resolved, so that's done. Good, out of here. District mail issue. This was kind of an interesting situation that occurred, and we need to change this.
So that's in these.
And the issue here is that we receive rather large tax payments via the mail. They sit out there in an open mailbox. And so what we really, and last week we had, or week before last, we had some issue of where a check was, when it got picked up, when it got put onto a desk out here in the open, and then it got deposited. Not a good thing, because we're talking thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. So my suggestion is that we get a locking mailbox out there. We put a board member in charge of retrieving the mail and dispersing it. What are you pointing at?
In the procedure policies where it gives that aspect to the communications officer.
Okay, but we still need to have a lockable mailbox.
That's part is in there too.
And then we also need to get a new lock on that file cabinet, because there's no way of knowing how many of those are out there. I mean, there's no way we know that, is there, Steve?
No, I only know 2 keys, but I can't verify that.
So that we then have a place to put the checks if they're not going to be deposited. We'll lock them up in that filing cabinet with everything, all the other check stuff. So that's the suggestion before us, unless somebody else has another one.
I move that we get a locking mailbox and a new lock on the file cabinet.
Second.
Any other discussion? Any questions? All those in favor of doing so? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. The concept of having the treasurer's report on the website, this was something that was a question of us, actually came from Tom Johnson. Would like to see the treasurer's report on the website, and I actually don't see any problem with that. Anybody discussion-wise care? It's just another thing for transparency to get on there.
Well, we're just talking that he would put on the basic, what's in the accounts, so to speak. I mean, the
The
total.
basic treasurer's report that he just.
Well,
can't-
I don't think he needs to list every bill we're paying.
No, I think the basic one, as we discussed, it gives the amounts in the accounts.
Pretty much. I mean, is there something else that,
What you should do is have
you know,
balance, expenses for the month,
well,
or starting balance and then income, expenses,
Okay.
balance at the end.
Would it be easier for him to just put the profit and loss on there every month?
I think until I get QuickBooks figured out, nothing's easy.
You have profit and loss off in no time, you know,
Yeah.
you do that.
I think George seems to be on the right track, is if we just have the balance
Of each account, yeah.
of each account, and then how much money came in, and how much money went out, wouldn't that suffice to give everybody an idea? Anybody got a comment out there? No?
Is-
Make it-
Is that going to
Water.
indicate if it went for equipment or for operations?
So what you
It'll all come out of the checking account.
Yeah, it will
Because no matter what you do, you transfer money into the checking account.
Bill had a comment?
I'm
I
sorry.
just said that's what you need that lawyer for.
That question? No, this is more simple than that.
Well, it's just that, you know, if people want to know what the district has, they have a right to know. But like I said, they don't need to know every bill. That's
Well, we'd have to come up with a format that just lists the account by number, and then whatever account is being checks written out of, that number will reduce and or increase according to what came in the way, for instance, this time of year of tax checks. And then the amount of bills, I don't think we need to list every individual bill on there. That seems a little bit goofy. They're welcome to come in to find that, but just show the total amount of bills that were paid.
Well, that's what I said, doesn't the profit and loss show exactly what we're talking about? And that's an easier thing.
No,
Okay.
not as far as easier.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it probably shows that.
Okay.
Well, how about we leave this one up to Kent, and when you're comfortable with something that can be published, we'll figure out how to put it on the website. Is that right?
Let me create some sort of a draft, and I'll see if I can't distribute it to you.
Okay?
Okay.
Adios.
See you later.
Merry Christmas, if I don't see you.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, guys. Drive safe getting home, okay?
Good night.
the hill.
Don't make a sway out of it.
No, be careful.
We can always call you guys.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
See y'all.
Okay, next item is the procedural policies. Has everybody read this latest version?
I kept sending it
Nodding,
out.
nodding heads.
I kept sending it out. so-
What's the date on the latest
The date?
It's about
Like-
3:30 this
I
afternoon.
was gonna say it was this afternoon.
one? I haven't read that, go ahead. It's not, it's your business. man.
I read the last two.
So you want to do this, read this as a first reading, Lisa?
Sure. Procedural policies, Article 1, Section 1, Chain of Command. The chain of command shall consist of the following: 1, Board President; 2, Board Vice President; 3, Board Secretary; 4, Board Treasurer; 5, Board Communications Officer. Section 2, Responsibilities. See Bylaws, Article 5, Section 2. A, President. The President shall provide all documents required to open and run the meeting. This shall include the agenda and any other documents not specifically designated the responsibility of any other board member. Agendas shall be sent to each board member and fire chief at least 48 hours prior to the next meeting. The board president or his designee shall be responsible for the reader board at the fire station. The president's report shall include the following: A, the agenda items; B, any correspondence pertinent to the board, i.e. telephone calls, emails, etc. from outside sources. B, Vice President. The Vice President shall present an updated inventory report of all district assets at each regular business meeting. The Vice President shall also provide a copy via email or hard copy to all board members and fire chiefs. The Quartermaster's report shall include the following: A, weekly updates of all inventory lists; B, hard copies of all documents to all board members and fire chief when necessary; C, any correspondence to outside sources pertaining to inventory, supplies, equipment, etc. Secretary. The Secretary shall provide the minutes of special executive board meetings, special, okay, expect in parentheses, at least 48 hours prior to the next special meeting. The minutes may be in forms pursuant to ORS 192. The board shall make decisions on copies for FOIA requests based on time constraints, feasibility, and funds as necessary. See fiduciary policies. The Secretary will also be responsible for correspondence of the district to other agencies not specific to the fire chief. The Secretary will provide copies of all pertinent documents via email or hard copy to all other board members and fire chief as necessary. The Secretary's report shall include the following: A, any correspondence to and from Board of Directors to outside sources, i.e. Nooner, Davidson, Cooley, LLC. B, any ongoing projects directly associated with the board, i.e. fire hydrant, UBW, not designated to another board member. C, hard copies of all documents to all board members and fire chief when necessary. D, treasurer. The treasurer shall present a written report, i.e. spreadsheet, profit and loss statement, monthly ledger, at each regular business meeting to be approved by the board. See bylaws, Article 5, Section 2, D. After approval, the report will be turned over to the administrator of the website for inclusion on the webpage. The treasurer's report shall include the following: 1, totals of each account; 2, number and amounts of all accounts; 3, number of bills to be paid; 4, total amounts of bills to be paid designated as equipment versus operations administration. E, communications officer. The communications officer will be the administrator of the website. Only the administrator will handle the final information and publish it on the webpage. This duty may be handled by other board members as designated. The administrator does not handle items such as the chief's report or any fire prevention and or safety information that the fire chief or DFPA may introduce. The communications officer shall also be responsible for the handling of the mail. The communications officer will have a key to the locking mailbox for the district and will disperse the mail accordingly after he/she signs and dates the mail. The communications officer's report shall include the following: A, updates and changes to the website; B, any correspondence with outside sources, i.e. DFN; C, hard copies of all documents to all board members and fire chief when necessary; F, all board members and fire chief. Each board member will be responsible for the downloading and printing of all documents required for their own use at each meeting, i.e. agendas, minutes, etc. 1, templates. A template may be used for minutes, agendas, treasurer's report, and other common documents. This will be established according to needs. G, signatories. 2 board members are required to sign a check, contract, or other binding document for the district. Some documents may require the signatures of all board members, i.e. a safe deposit box. Section 3, due diligence. A, compliance. All board members and the fire chief shall familiarize themselves with the bylaws of the district as well as other policies and procedures and the district operations manual. B, education. At least 1 board member shall attend the Thursday training session after each regular board meeting. Members may rotate their attendance. This is to further their knowledge and relations with the fire department. Article 2, Section 1, community. A, members of the district. Any community member who volunteers services, i.e. time, equipment, labor, etc., for maintenance, improvements, and upkeep of the fire station or district facilities must coordinate with the board of directors. The board shall be apprised of money spent, time constraints, liability issues, and progress. B, participation in community events. When a community event involves the use of vehicles, equipment, or personnel from the fire district, the use must be justified. The board encourages participation in community events such as the Lookingglass Cleanup Day and Parade. The board of directors must determine if the use is of benefit to the fire district and the community. Board members as well as fire department personnel may participate in conjunction with other community entities such as the Lookingglass Store, Lookingglass Grange, Lookingglass Elementary School, etc. as mutually agreeable according to a reference guide to Oregon's public meeting law, page 8, exemptions in ORS 192-610-690 for casual gatherings. C, disorderly conduct. Anyone disrupting a meeting shall be first asked to be seated and quiet after his/her 2 minutes are expended. If the disruption continues, he/she will be asked to leave the meeting, the building, and the grounds. The president or presiding officer will be responsible for these actions. If these are not successful, the sheriff will be called and the person will be charged with trespass. Article 3, Section 1, acquisitions. A, facilities and maintenance. Whenever it is required to purchase items for maintenance of the fire station, if the estimate exceeds $500, there must be 3 bids presented to the board for approval, and the board may adjust this amount at any time. B, vehicles and equipment. Whenever it is required to purchase items for equipment of the fire station, if the estimate exceeds $500, there must be 3 bids presented to the board for approval. The board may adjust this amount at any time. See fiduciary policy, Article 3, Section 1. Article 4, Section drug policy. And this is a question mark about random drug testing. Article 5, amendments. Section 1, amendments. Any amendments, changes to these policies must be voted upon or approved by the board. Any vote to change or amend these policies requires at least 3 votes to approve said changes. Changes must be presented at 1 regular business meeting and then voted on at the next regular business meeting.
Any comments? Oh, yes, Bruce.
I noticed when you were going through the treasurer posting the financials on the website, you didn't have a provision for monies received.
Okay. You're talking about,
Yep.
do we want, okay, do you want to add that? How does everybody feel about that?
Well, you were just talking about
Right,
what you,
I
what you
understand.
Were we
should.
talking about the website, or were we talking
Yeah,
about
website.
the monthly?
Well, what you were saying about the treasurer's report that includes, that's
Right,
fine.
but this didn't refer to anything in the internet, or the website.
Well, it
This
says
is
the report
tre-
is going to be turned over
Right.
after approval, but I can
What,
add that.
and I think the reason, it does say number and amount of all deposits.
Well,
Yeah, it
I
does
didn't-
say,
Yeah, but
yeah,
that
it does
wasn't
say
how,
number and amount
that
of all
wasn't how Lisa
deposits.
read it.
Okay.
Just, you,
And you don't want that separate, that's okay to just leave it number and amounts of all deposits is,
yeah, the way this actually reads, Bruce, is the treasurer's report shall include the following: totals of each account, number and amounts of all deposits, number of bills to be paid, and total amount of bills to be paid designated as equipment versus operations.
I might have missed that. It was kind
That's
of,
not reporting what has been paid during the month, though.
It shouldn't just be number of bills paid, not to
that's
be
fine,
paid.
that's fine, number of bills
Isn't that
paid.
correct?
Okay,
On three.
So we'll make that change.
Credits, debits, and balance. That covers.
Say again?
Credits, debits, and balance.
okay, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true too. That
That's
would
fine.
that'd be another way to put it.
I'll put that in parentheses.
Credits, debit.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like the way that sounds, okay. Any other comments on this?
Yes.
Yes, Jerry?
I have a question on what's written on the communications officer. I'm a little confused in your use of the term handle.
Okay,
The communications officer will be administrative website only. The administrator will handle the final information published on the website. But later you say the administrator does not handle items such as the chief's report or
Okay, I
any
see what
fire
you're
and safety
saying.
information. So
Right,
how does
it's
that
just-
get published on the website?
Yeah, I'm seeing, why don't we say, I don't want to say. upload.
Determine,
Yeah,
But what
determine
about
the
the
final.
chiefs? Why would it not be handled or
well,
determined
yeah,
or
I
whatever?
understand, okay, I'm
I
trying
have
to
to publish
say,
that stuff too.
okay.
So I'm not sure what you were meaning.
I'm trying to
would
say
not
you
get-
don't put in necessarily the, yeah, it's a tricky thing because like some of the stuff will just come, and I guess that would be all encompassing. I could just take that out and say that you handle it all, that's fine. If
Yeah,
that's,
'cause I'm not sure what you were trying to get at.
well, I'm trying to say that you wouldn't write his stuff or put in, what he's,
Well, why don't you just replace handle with determine?
yeah, that's fine.
With that word,
With,
determine. In other words, the administrator will determine the final information and publish it on the website.
Yeah,
So you've
that's
got
fine.
the right to say yea or nay, that you don't think that should go there.
oh, okay.
And then the
Yeah,
next
you'll
sentence
just
where it
determine
says,
And then I'll just take the other part out.
well, but you can sit there and say, the administrator does not determine the items such as the chief's report. Because the chief writes that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's fine. We'll just use the word determine.
You're frowning down there.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to be clear.
See, the idea
on what
here
it's-
is
Yeah.
that Steve would present the information to
Right,
me.
right.
I may question, like he wanted me to put some documents on there, and I felt it would be better just to have links to those
Right.
There you go.
particular
Yeah,
documents.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so I asked if that was okay, and he said yes.
Okay. Determine.
Okay.
I
Or
don't put anything on that website, I forward anything to Jerry, I don't.
Right.
Well, I was just trying to get a differentiation so that, in case you had something different.
So we're changing-
Because that's yours.
So we're changing both of the uses of handle to determine, correct?
Except the part where this duty may be handled by other board members as designated, because that's a separate issue.
But actually, all he does is publish it. He doesn't, once it's submitted, he publishes it, he doesn't determine.
Well, sure, but he has to actually say whether he wants to publish it or not.
Right.
He has that.
Doesn't the board?
Well, because, no.
Well, the board will, but he'll have to say, we're not doing this until we have board approval.
Right, and he has to determine that, because he can't just put something like we were just discussing about a photo we wanted to put on, but we have to know if it's public domain, if it's not copyrighted, and you can't do it otherwise, so.
And
and he has to determine that, or, you know, that's just one more aspect.
So we're changing there are 3 uses of handle in here. Or 4, excuse me, because there's handling at the bottom. All of them are going to be determined.
Well, the second one is a different issue. It says this duty may be handled by another board, by other board members as designated. Or it can be,
Yeah, that could be appropriate.
yeah,
So that can
that's,
stay as
that's a
handled?
separate, yeah, because that's a separate
Okay.
issue.
What about the handling? After the communications officer shall also be responsible for the handling of the mail.
Okay.
Is that handling
Well,
okay?
that's handling.
I'm just saying.
He's handling.
So we're just changing the 2 to determine and calling it
Yes,
good.
yes, that's
Yeah.
different. That's a
Okay.
different issue.
And that be delegated to what if Jerry goes out of town for 2 weeks?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what it says.
Designate.
It would be designated to another board member,
Right, yeah.
which would be interesting.
But if it's there Tuesday, then I would.
But, you know, if you're sending me emails about something, I can always get online wherever I am to publish something,
Sure.
to update the
You
website.
want to expand on your question?
No, I think.
I like having access to mailbox, but I'm,
Oh, I see, you're talking about this physical mailbox. Yes,
Yeah.
I would, if I'm out of town, we don't want the mail staying in that box for 2 weeks, you're absolutely right.
No, it would be a different.
There needs to be a backup key that somebody else would have access.
And
Right.
whoever you determine to be the person.
Yeah.
Or
But
you
that-
give
but
the key to another
Bring it in.
person during that time frame.
Right.
But to also jump on that whole subject of the mailboxes, the reason that we're putting it into the board's responsibility is purely because of the tax monies. Is that we are responsible for the fact that they're sent to us, we receive them, and then that they're appropriately deposited. And we're just trying not to leave that into question that,
No.
hey Steve, what happened to that?
I don't have a problem with that, I just want, it's gotta be timely. I mean, I don't know what,
What has, I'm saying,
Jerry's a retired guy, and so what about the next board member that works 5 days a week, 10 hours a day or something? Is it gonna be timely?
as far as picking up the mail.
Yeah, because we got.
I
bills and
think,
stuff.
I think we should have something in here that, I agree with Steve, that it's daily.
Oh, yeah.
You know, on your way home from work, you know, whatever that is, and how hard is that to go by and pick it up?
Do
Question?
you pick up daily over there, Steve?
I pick up when I come here, I pick it up, which can be daily, some days it's not.
Question?
Well,
Yes,
Okay, so if you have 2 keys and say Steve gets a key, he could go in there and take what he needs and leave the checks in there, could he not?
he could, but then if something was to have disappeared, he's gonna have to prove that it wasn't there when he opened it.
that's, yeah.
It just puts an awful lot of responsibility back, as we just discovered with the previous checks missing. So,
Yeah, and I've had mail taken out of my mailbox. It got so bad I started a case file with the sheriff. So this should have been a locking mailbox a long time ago, regardless of how we set it up to get it. When you're getting big tax checks, it just can't lay there. It
Right.
should never have gone there, never.
well, how about if we take the word handling out and put in daily retrieval of mail or something like that?
Well, I just said,
Retrieval and distribution.
You know, where it says the
Well, it's
communication officer is also
dispersed later,
responsible for
so shall be responsible for
the daily retrieval of mail.
yeah, that's fine.
And we could say the daily retrieval and disbursement, because as soon as they pick it up, whoever picks it up, if Jerry's picking it up, he puts all of the appropriate mail into everybody's boxes, including Steve's, immediately when he walks in the door, puts any tax type things into the lockable cabinet,
Right.
and we're done.
That's fine. Yes, I'll just reword that.
Do we need to add something, though, about a backup, as Steve mentioned?
It's in there already. This duty may be handled by other board members as designated.
Yeah, I would have said it.
I think that's just referring to administrator of the website.
I'll put that down at the bottom. These
These
duties.
duties.
Yeah, these duties.
Okay,
Okay,
that sounds good.
yeah.
Yes, you're gonna relocate that sentence to the end.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That'll cover it.
Okay. Any other comments or changes or additions?
The board, the reader board out front, I'd like you to have some kind of agreement for me to be designee. Just as a point of order, that reader board was a firefighters association reader board that was got years ago, and it was a Pepsi advertisement reader board that last, or 2 years ago, was upgraded at the firefighter association's expense. And we don't have any problem with it being there, and we don't have any problem communicating with the district, but we do. I just want you to know that. It's a point that was brought up at my last firefighter.
No, that's a good point. I don't have any problem.
And
with
we
that.
don't have any problem with it being there, but I just want to make sure that the fire chief with the board president, that I'm kind of a designee, because there's things I want to put on there, fire prevention type stuff.
One of the reasons we're doing some of these things is so that you don't have to do so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he's choosing to do that,
Sure, but then he will be your
As long as
designee.
I'm your designee,
Yeah,
I
he's
just want
going
that
to
to be
be.
in. And I wanted to realize where that came from, because
Sure.
it was sensitive to one person, as you can imagine. And they gotten over it yet, because it's our board. If I'm a designee, then it's our board. Well,
You can be the designee.
exactly.
That's fine. We're just trying to take some of the load
It's just the
off.
very first thing that was said was, well, that's our board, and we're letting them use it.
Oh, please.
Well, you can say, oh, please, but that's where we are.
But I hope you understand, or
I
explain to
I
them
explained
that
to
that's,
it, yes,
yeah, this
exactly.
isn't a, you know, a control thing. This isn't a territorial thing. This is a, gee, doesn't Steve have enough to do thing?
Yeah. It's just
I
one
mean,
other
you
little
know.
thing that you guys probably didn't know, that where that
No.
word came from, well, now you do.
Thank
And
you.
it's gonna be taken care of. I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, we
So,
thought- Okay, we thought you were.
where do we have that? Isn't it in the bylaw where we have the, or is that in the procedurals
It's
on the,
procedural.
on the president
Yeah,
deal?
it's right there. And so Steve can
Read
be
it
your
more.
designee.
Thank you.
Well, why don't
We don't care.
Well, but let's split this, because do you also want to be responsible for making sure that the board meeting advertisements are done? Or do we want to split those duties, that I can go out and put on the board member, or excuse me, the board meeting notification, and
It's
you have
fine.
the balance?
It's fine as you want. I just want to make sure that as a designee, I'm included, because it was important to some of my firefighters.
Okay, that works for me.
That we have the ability to use that board to communicate also.
Yeah.
What if we just insert or his designee, such as the fire chief?
It's
And
okay
there
right
it's
now. I
clear.
just wanted to point that out.
No, I think we specifically have to state that the fire chief can, right, is
He can, there's a rule.
It's his board, he can do what he wants to.
somehow, it's, given this information we've just gotten.
Then why don't we add after the parentheses and the fire chief?
After which parentheses?
And,
The
or his
board president
designee.
or his designee
And the fire
and the
chief.
fire chief shall be responsible for the reader board.
How we could do that. It's kind of in an odd place being under the president, but
Well, that makes sense.
Do
That
we
makes
have
sense.
anything
Yeah.
in here on
That work?
the fire chief?
No,
Do I have to say again?
no, these are for us.
I'm happy with how it is. I just want to make sure that we have a part of it. That's all.
But if it's in there, then there will be no question.
right. But I just want to make sure that you know where it's going to be. Is it's going to be underneath the
President,
president's responsibilities, but it's going to name you as the additional designee.
Okay, that's fine.
That work? Okay. So do we have to work out a lease rate for the second?
No.
yeah, really.
It's just, I kind of
Do we get 2 lines
I
or
kind of feel
3?
silly being a fire chief and not being able to put something on the board, or being a fire chief and not being able to get to the mailbox, for example.
Well, I'm just going to highlight that, is that we didn't say in there anywhere what you couldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, we were just putting that it's my job to deal with those goofy little plastic letters to put the
I
board
understand
stuff.
that.
But it is very nice that you do, like, Santa Claus is coming as your chimney clean.
I'm trying not to tell people what to do. I'm trying to hint to them.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the last one? The last one was
It's time to change it.
it's fire season. What did you say?
Oh, it's saying Happy Thanksgiving, don't burn your turkey.
Don't burn the turkey. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, so are we good on that,
Okay.
everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments on this? The only comment I'd like to make is that the issue of the random drug testing is just a question. So this is just a category right now. This is not something that we're voting on or instituting or whatever, but that's something that's out there. We discussed it today with the insurance people, so this is a kind of an all-encompassing conversation that we have to have. And we had a good conversation about that with the insurance carriers, so, or the agent, I should say.
Yeah, because it's liability issues.
Yeah, he made sure that right now we're covered.
Yeah.
No matter what, they would appreciate that kind of thing, and we were talking, I want, the chief's meeting's coming up, and I want to know what's going on around the county. In my past experience, we didn't have a random one. You got drug tested after you got an accident or something, but that's not very preventative. And we were talking about whether the department wants to step up and say, hey, you go down to Evergreen and get a urine test before, when you turn your application in. It's gonna cost, I think it's $55 to do that,
But it's worth it if it, you know,
so that'd be another
saves
thing to
an
be added.
incident.
Yeah,
you know.
and I don't know if it's another hurdle to becoming a volunteer, but if you got something high, then you wouldn't want to do it. If you're not incurring the cost, I think it'd be okay to do it.
Well, we could also start it off by them being aware that it's an option for the fire chief. So that anybody coming in to volunteer is gonna have the concept that it could happen to them. It's not mandatory.
And the key point too was that after an accident or that within 24 hours you get drug tested. And odds are with a commercial license and have law enforcement out here, that's going to happen anyway.
Well, didn't Rick say that was a mandatory thing?
With a commercial
With a
license,
volunteer?
and depending on if there's injuries, I believe.
No,
is-
Mark gets
yeah.
tested, they can take him anytime because he has a
So-
CDL, so.
What I'd like to do with this is kind of put it off, let Steve kind of figure out where his thoughts are on it. The issue of going to the Fire Chiefs Association, find out what's going on. We've already gotten input back from both insurance carriers. They said basically the same thing. So let's just put this somewhere into the January meeting and maybe revisit it. That's my suggestion.
When we revisit it, shall we include language that says the cost for the drug test will be incurred by the district?
I think we should do that, yes. That's my feeling. That should not be put
Just
on
to
to the
make it
individual. Yeah. So when we get to that point, yes.
But then the IRS might come back and say, oh, we're gonna have to pay tax on that.
We're not going there.
No.
That's a whole nother ballywick that's really ridiculous
That's
right now.
fine.
We'll worry about that IRS and volunteers later.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can just leave that section blank for now?
Just leave it blank for now, and we'll fill it in, that'll be an amendment.
Okay.
Item G is the public appearance thing, we've already pretty much hit that. This is a deal where we're not, the issue of liabilities, we've already found out that everything is covered, whether they're volunteers or board members or civilians, as long as somebody of authority has given the person the authority to be on the vehicle. So you can give kids rides, you can give the mayor a ride, et cetera, et cetera. The real issue here that we're trying to get at, and we addressed it in the procedural policies, is that it's just coordinated with the board, plain and simple. It's got to be one of the best PR things out there. I really like what Dave Pennicook related to, where he said that I think it was Eugene and Springfield, actually during Christmas they go out with a fire truck and they give kids a ride if the kids will give them like a stuffed toy for underprivileged kids, and they ride the kids around the park. I mean, what a cool thing to do at Christmas. You know, I think that's awesome. So, and this Riddle deal is another example of that. Yeah, Bruce?
North Bay, we used to go out Christmas Carol with the trucks.
Oh, I'd like to go Christmas Carol.
That was fun.
The only liabilities that he discussed today was if it's something we originate, if we create a parade or we're the originator of the Christmas caroling, then there's going to be some liability issues where we might have to get releases and that kind of stuff signed.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
We were talking about next year, maybe like they tried to do at the store this year with the Halloween, maybe do what do you call that park, trunk and tree or whatever.
Right.
They were asking us to host some down here because the county was mad because of the traffic impact on what was going on there. Maybe do all kinds of safety stuff. So I mean, that's things like that. We would incur liability. It'd have to be some kind of liability release or something. But
I
anyway,
don't know how that
we
would
can
work.
deal with that.
Yeah. So the point to be made here is that the board is 100% behind public appearances, and just like the deal at Lowe's, the fire prevention thing, the school stuff, and that's got to keep happening. But we just all have to coordinate it amongst the team.
And then we go, for example, if these guys are going on a Saturday, we have crews available.
That would be the next thing.
short
Yeah.
I'm not short in our district for that.
Right.
Okay.
Good. We've already talked somewhat about the January meeting. We're talking like the last weekend in January, so we'll hit that at the January meeting. The insurance issue, anybody got anything else on that? I'll just jump right through here trying to get us out of here. Insurance issues that Steve and I went and met with Rick Holland on today, which is basically the VFIS policy versus the Oregon Special Districts policy. It doesn't seem like it's a good apples and apples comparison, my gut feeling. So what's happening right now is that Steve and I asked that they check into raising all of the deductibles. The deductibles were incredibly low. It's like $100. Well, they don't need to be that low, and see what the savings is on the premium. But right now we're at $75.50. Wasn't that what it was, Steve?
Yeah.
$7,550 for the entire policy, and they're both fairly comparable in price, but there's a whole lot of difference. It's not an apples to apples comparison between the two insurances. So right now, VFIS is, in my opinion, heads and shoulders ahead in the race, and they're also going to check on the because right now well, I'm getting tired. Workman's comp is not done through VFIS, it's done through Liberty Mutual. Is that correct? And so there was some question there as to whether the Oregon Special Districts, because they do that, but there was a falling out like 20 years ago or something with this district over a claim on a workman's comp, and they told Oregon Special Districts to stick it in their ear, and they walked, and they've been using the Liberty Mutual ever since. So that was just another question. Was there something else that we asked them to do?
No, I think that was it. It
Oh, yeah.
just is ridiculous. Like on our vehicles, they have $50 deductible or something.
Yeah.
I mean, on my, your personal vehicle, you usually have 100 or 500 or more. So our thought is to raise it to that. We're going to have to talk about that as a board, but I mean, it doesn't make sense to be carrying such low deductibles, and it should bring the rates
premium,
right
sure,
down to
that
equal.
would.
Yeah. Well, that was what it was. We asked them to do
So they're going
the higher, the two tiers
Yeah.
higher.
Because
So
the
they're
higher-
Because
gonna-
they are 100, 500, and with property, I think we're at 100 now, and then we're gonna go at 500, and you go, and then your next step is 2,500 deductible on the building
Right,
itself.
on the building
Seems
itself.
Yeah, but the higher your
Yeah.
deductibles, the lower your
Lower
premiums.
rates.
Right.
That's where you could make up the most on their rate.
Sure.
So they're gonna work that up for us and give us a premium
Good.
change, and then we can make the
Will that be done by
decision.
January then?
It should be done in a week.
They should be done in a week.
Oh, okay, then you can get that.
And the idea
Okay.
was to keep comparable insurance and lower that rate, because it represents 15 or 20% of our budget every year, so it's a lot.
Yeah, because the total is gonna be about $9,500 for all of our insurances, so that's right at 15 to 20% of our actual budget.
Mhm.
Does this have to be determined by January 1st? Is that when the bill is due? And we're not able to vote on it then?
If we stay with BFIS, it's going to automatically renew whatever we go. And if we go to SDAO, they're going to stretch it out past January 1st, and there's not going to be, we can go past January 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if we change the insurance, we can do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
And also, as a sideline to that also won't affect anything that Susan Shepherd does
Mhm.
either. So, item 10, any communications anybody got that they has received, blah, blah, blah? Yes.
Well, I have a communications officer report.
Oh, I should have a category for that, huh?
All right.
Yeah, I have sent you my template, so I thought you knew.
No, I know.
I thought it was going under
I meant to write
communications.
officer here and I
Yeah,
forgot.
I thought it was going under
Go
communications.
right ahead. We'll just put
I
officer at
did
the
include
end.
a graph in the packets I gave each of you on usage statistics for our website. And so it's a very colorful graph. The one at the top really shows
Yes.
the much higher usage, really starting in July and then jumping up really high in October. December is so low because we're less than 2 weeks into the month. So
Yeah,
that's why
right.
that's
Yes,
showing
half
so
a
low.
month, yeah.
So
Okay.
you have that information. In terms of updates to the website, the report of calls on the blotter page was updated to include October. Steve just gave me the November calls, so I'll be able to add that. The contact us page was updated. It was originally done by the previous web manager as a form, and some people were having problems using that contact page as a form because it asks for the name and I think subject and information, but no reply email address, or you could just put in your reply email address and not your name. It just was very limited. So now I just did it where like if you click on the chief's email, it opens up whatever your default email program is, and you just type in an email and it will automatically be addressed to the chief, for example.
So did we resolve that problem with the fire chief email deal?
No, that's a whole other issue. Risa had received an email that supposedly was from the chief. The chief said he did not send the email. I tried tracing through his website email to see if there was any documentation of that email being sent out through that email account. I could not find anything. We even went to look to see on the computer here if maybe it got sent through Outlook Express on this computer. It goes through the email account but doesn't register on the email account. You wouldn't see it. We didn't find it on the computer on Outlook Express either. I also called tech support at Douglas Fastnet to see if there was any way that they could try to track it down. And so far, they have not been able to come up with a way to track it down. They don't back up the email accounts. So they have no backup of what was sent, just in case it had been sent through the account and then deleted and purged. They don't have a way to verify that. There was something, Risa sent me the source information from that email, and there was something questionable in there that made me wonder if we could track, or if DFN could somehow track through that to see what computer it was actually sent from, if there's any identifying information of the computer. So it's still an open ticket with DFM, and
What
they're
about
going to keep pursuing it.
What about that whole date issue? You told me.
Well, yeah, there were two different dates. Risa just received it on December 10th, and yet there was another date embedded in the source information of November 15th. The only way I can think of that might possibly happen is if that date was part of that email link that might have been copied off of another email and then pasted into a new email. It doesn't show up. If you're just looking at the email, that November date doesn't show up, but when you get into the source code, it shows up after that link.
Well, if this continues, we have to do something different because we can't have this happening and it reflect on Steve.
Right, and I've already...
I promise, if I want to talk to Risa, I'm going to talk to her.
He is talk.
And I mentioned to Steve that I've already changed his password for getting into that account. And so I hope, if you're ever getting into that account, you will then, close it after you use it so the email isn't just open And I would suggest if you are using Outlook Express for sending email through that account, although you said you use a different account, you don't
use
even
that
really
account, so that's
use
what kind
that.
of bothers me.
That's
In
what
fact,
you-
I haven't even gotten mail.
The main thing is, he doesn't even
Yeah.
use that account, so he shouldn't even enter that account into Outlook Express where somebody else might be able to automatically get through it. That account allows people to send email to the chief through our website, and then it gets forwarded to the email account that he does use, which I guess you had said is an account that was set up a long time ago specifically for the fire chief through Hotmail.
Yeah.
And that's, all his
And I have not
contacts have
received-
them.
I've never received a single message in that, by the way, from the website, so I don't know, maybe people just don't want to talk about it, that's what it is.
All we have to do is, this type of an email, it can't happen.
Right.
We can't have that. This categorizes as a non-signed correspondence type of thing, and
Right.
it's basically trash. But if we need to find a way for that not to happen, just so that we don't have any perception of where the hell did this come from and did it come from Steve? That just can't, we just can't have that.
Yeah, and we
Okay?
can't even trace it.
So whatever you can
Find
do
out.
to make that happen, make it happen.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a few other things, but Lisa said Yvonne had a question.
Was this sent to your personal email?
Yes, it was.
So someone had-
Addressed from the chief, the chief's website email.
Yeah.
That's what,
And
that's
it
why
was
I
just
called.
it was just a link.
Yeah, that's why I
That
called
was
him and I said,
and
what is this?
I addressed you from my personal.
I know, I
computer.
always
don't
get it
use
from
so-
your other email, that's why I said, that's, what is this?
And it's interesting because the original time it happened, three of us were here yesterday, myself, Jerry, and Tom Johnson were discussing, we had a tour, and then we had a discussion about about all this stuff, the computers and all that stuff. So it's kind of interesting happening at the same time. And three of us were here.
Yeah.
Well, we
And we didn't access that email account, and there's no record of it being accessed.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, there are other updates that I did, some holiday safety links, and I also put up I embedded a video of what happens when a Christmas tree catches fire.
Wow.
It's from a public service announcement.
Oh, I got one of those.
Yeah, and so
That's
we
pretty
got that
wild.
embedded on our page, so you can see it. It's pretty amazing how
Gnarly.
quickly that Christmas tree goes up, catches fire, within seconds, and then the fire spreads to things around it, a sofa and other things. Sorry.
Cool.
It's quite amazing. Okay, I have some proposed updates, such as adding the fire department's mission statement to the volunteers page, or if we get a chief's page, it could be added to the chief's page, but we can talk some more about what we're going to do with that. And I updated the information on the volunteers because I thought there's 16 now, so if there are 3 officers, there should be 13 firefighters, so I had to update that information. Added a board-approved treasurer's report to the budget page. Let's see, if it's all right, I'll just skip through some
Sure.
of these things. I did do some communications with some agencies and people. Kyle at Douglas Forest Protective Association about correcting the listing for our fire department on their website. And he's added me now into their email list of alerts that go out. They're very limited in what they do with broadcasting alerts. And, they have their graphics of the fire danger level. And I got these really neat ones from U.S. Department of Agriculture. But when in talking with Kyle, it seems that Oregon only uses a 4-level system, and the USDA one uses a 5-level system, so I can't use those beautiful graphics from USDA, but he's supposed to email me the ones that are used here in Oregon, so that, when I get the notice during burn season, I can put that graphic up onto our website.
Cool.
I met with the volunteers, met yesterday, as Steve said, with the chief and captain in terms of communications with the community. I had a discussion with Cindy at the Lookingglass Farm Market, that the Friday Farm Market. She had an idea about having the fire district have an informational table at the market.
That's a good idea.
I thought that was a great idea.
That's a
I'd
good
be
idea.
willing to often be there to be at the table, but it would be nice if I could have some backup, some people to help with that, and then we could discuss what information we would like to have on that table. Newsletters to go out, we could have extra copies if there are other documents that we would want them to have. I could have a laptop showing the website so people could see what the website is about.
Yeah, I'm sure
Steve, if
Steve
you
would
want
have-
any,
Seasonal stuff.
yeah, any
And,
kinds of seasonal
yeah.
stuff. So if you're interested in something like
I think
that,
that's a
we
great
can
idea.
get that going.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that too.
Great.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Yeah, the farm market is on Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m.
I appreciate.
And they would not charge us for that.
Jerry's went through 1 million websites. I got the list of them here. And we're gonna go through more, but we have information about us on websites all over the state from the past 20 years or whatever. And it's all different, passed on chiefs, former chiefs, addresses, phone numbers, everything about equipment is all changed. And so, I mean, it's a long drawn out process and he's going at it. So
Yeah, so
Thank
Steve
you
said
very
that, yeah, Steve said he would contact them about getting updated information on those websites.
I didn't even know how many we were on. We're on a lot.
Great. Cool.
Yay.
Anything else, Gary?
No, we don't need a motion, do we, about having a table at the
No.
market?
We had talked about you and I had been emailing back and forth about the fund page.
Yes, I did actually have that in there, but, Risa had suggested having a fun page. I think you had mentioned something, with the photo, but we'll need to work on that and hopefully have that together by the next board meeting.
Okay. Cool. That's very cool. All that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to
Yeah.
mention that I did also create a new calendar page at Risa's request. So we now have embedded on a page a calendar for listing meetings, like all the monthly meetings will automatically be put up there. That's
Oh.
we meet, the second Wednesday of each month.
Yes.
So that's that's automatically up there for every month.
Oh,
And
good.
Steve, I mentioned to you that once I get the training schedule for the volunteer firefighters, I'll be able to put their schedule up on that calendar. And then if you can give me details about the parade on Saturday, I can get that put up on the calendar. And any other events or things that anybody feels should go up on the calendar,
That's a
like
good
the fire
community thing.
district and department, I can put on there.
No, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm always
Good
thinking of
job.
something you can add to it.
Always impressing me, Jerry.
Yes.
I very much appreciate that. I know
We
we all
talked
do.
yesterday, we're really not using the web effectively. We could be using it way effectively. I mean, we're doing a great job, but we can, a lot of ways we could be using it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I forgot to mention that at the meeting I had with Steve and Tom yesterday, we were trying to figure out how to get the Wi-Fi working. And today I worked on that. It is working now, Steve. I'll give you the password. I did a guest log on that's security protected, and I'll give you the logon information so that when you're doing your trainings, if you need live internet, you'll have it.
Oh, very good. Did you use, which router did you use? The one that was under the table or the other one?
The
one out
Netgear,
here?
I had to connect the Netgear to the Cisco. The Cisco is a router, but I couldn't see that it had any Wi-Fi. I didn't have the access information, so all I did was connect the Netgear router to it.
Very good.
Yep, it's working.
It's working.
Tried it, but I don't know.
And it's not conflicting with any, when I talked with the guy from DFN, I asked him to check, is there any conflict with that, with their stuff, and he said no.
Good.
So we're cool.
You said you needed a password? Was there a password for that?
For the Wi-Fi. Yeah, Steve wanted to have the Wi-Fi for when he's doing the trainings. So I have it password protected,
Well,
and I
how'd
will
you get
give him the password.
it just shows up. It says
Yeah.
Oh, it
secure.
just shows up. Oh,
Yeah.
You got one of
You have
those
to enter the
smartphone
password.
things. Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm behind.
LVFD, secured with WPA2.
We're
That's
not
the
gonna
security level.
Yeah.
You guys don't want to get free access to the community, do you? From our
We
Wi-Fi?
don't have the Wi-Fi.
No,
Thank you.
no.
Well, I was just curious because Yvonne didn't get on, and I thought that Bruce had got on, but he's got just
No.
notified, and I don't understand that.
Community doesn't get on.
That it, Jerry?
That's it. Thank you.
Good of the order. Anybody out there got anything? No? The one thing that
Wait.
oh, I'm sorry, Bruce.
You know, I've been noticing something over the past 6 or 8 months that the board has really excelled. And I was wondering if you guys are talking about Douglas Fastnet. Do they have cell phone capabilities? Because I know all you guys use a lot of cell phone minutes.
Oh, boy.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, is there some way to provide a cell phone for the board, or has that been thought about?
Well, no, we haven't thought about it, but actually it should tone down once we get all of these
Please
things.
God.
We're hoping. We get to the point where we're just the one meeting a month and it's maybe an hour meeting. I mean, that's a great idea, but I really think that's gonna go away here quickly.
Okay.
We're almost there.
But I know you guys are spending a lot of your own resources
Yeah,
to make this happen.
yeah. Appreciate that.
So-
Appreciate the thought.
All right.
One thing I did put in here under good of the order, maybe this wasn't where it should be, but we really need to fix these tabletops in here and that 1-4 chair, table.
How about new tables, period?
It just got
Well,
to
either
be.
new tables or new tabletops, so we've got 2 bent legs, that one and
I
that
can
one.
fix that.
And when the insurance people are sitting here looking at that, they're going, I just think that might be something that we might want to discuss in the future.
In the future, yeah.
Any public question and answer? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, anybody? Somebody second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's go home. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you for staying through